Good morning, all of you. In today's session, we are going to start with the 10th standard chemistry and physics. Unit 12, carbon and its compound, series number 5 is going to be discussed. This is the session going to be presented by Dr. Kavita Pottireddy. And here I'm going to review about the concepts which are related with the allotropes of carbon. Before going to enter into our today's concept, so what we discussed in the earlier sessions, let us explore. So in the earlier session, what is carbon, where it is located in the modern periodic table, and what is its valency, how the electron distribution is possible, and what kind of hybridization process possible in the carbon atom. So all these topics were earlier discussed, and even the concept of allotropy was introduced, and the classification into amorphous and the crystalline allotropic forms of carbon was also completed. In addition to all these, Unit 1 to Unit 11, entire detailed explanation available on the channel called World of Competitive Chemistry. Now we entered into series number 5 of Unit 12, carbon and its compounds. Let us enter into our today's concept. So let us recall the concept of allotropy and how carbon is able to exhibit allotropic forms. Allotropy is the concept related with so many elements which present in the modern periodic table. It's the property where the single element may exist in different kind of forms, that may be amorphous, that may be crystalline in nature. So that is purely because of its arrangement. So because of variation in the arrangement of atoms, there is a possibility of change in their properties, including physical and chemical properties as well. Right. So that's the reason why single element may exist in various forms, even composition remains same. Right. So phosphorus exists in white phosphorus and red phosphorus. Sulfur also available in S6, Se8. Different allotropic forms are available. Right. So here single component may exist in either crystalline form, otherwise amorphous form. That purely depends upon the arrangement of atoms. In the same regard, carbon is also taken into the example of this allotropy, and it may exist in various content, various kind of compounds that purely because of their arrangement. Allotropic forms includes charcoal, maybe the example. Coke is also the part of this allotropy, and coal is the part of this allotropy of the carbon, right? So here all the mentioned examples which comes under the allotropic forms of carbon: fullerene, onion-like carbon, carbon dot it will be, nano diamond, a graphene dot it will be, and a diamond, graphite, multi-layered graphitic sheets will be there, graphene, and carbon nanotubes will be there, single walled, multi-walled, quantum dots also available. In so many ways, these carbon nanomaterials as well as carbon amorphous forms, crystalline forms are available. All these are the part of allotropy of the carbon itself. So here, earlier we completed amorphous kind of allotropic forms. Now we entered into a crystalline forms of allotropy. Crystalline form imparted when all the atoms are systematically arranged in the regular three-dimensional network. And diamond is the simplest example in this category, where it will participate. Diamond made up of carbon, where carbon will participate in sp3 hybridization with the 2s1 electron, 2p3 electrons. All 4 electrons will participate in the hybridization. Mixing of all the orbitals are possible, which in turn gives rise to a sp3 hybridized of equally energized. 4 orbitals get generated. These 4 orbitals will lay in sp3 hybridization. That is called a tetrahedral geometry. So here in diamond, all the carbon atoms are arranged in the tetrahedral geometry, so that it will impart the 3-dimensional network to this one, so that it will be very strong and cross-linked network will be given by this extended covalent network bonding. So diamond, each carbon undergoes the excited sp3 hybridization. Hence, carbon atom has the tetrahedral environment, and the 3-dimensional structure of the diamond is shown here. And this is about the lattice structure. Lattice structure denoted what? Here the carbon is assigned with the more 4 atoms in the regular tetrahedral voids. so that here tetrahedral structure is imparted, and when we extend such a kind of bonds, it will be represented in a diamond structure, being it is a polymer of the carbon arranged in a tetrahedral geometry. Extended tetrahedral, we can say. Tetrahedral denotes simply 4 bonds will be there around the central atom. But here extended tetrahedral in the sense that will be extended in all possible directions, so that here linked network can be appeared here. This is the structural dimensions for diamond. Now, as the carbon-carbon bonds are very strong in nature and they attempt to distort in the diamond structure, requires a large amount of energy. All the bonds are symmetrical, and which in turn imparts the strength to the bond, so that here high extent of energy is required in order to break them. That is the reason why on the most scale of the hardness, here diamond lays in the position with the highest strength and toughness. So it is one of the hardest material among the known elements. Even though some other elements also available, diamond is also considered as one of the toughest material. So that's the reason why it have wide range of applications along with the ornamental value. So because of its complete reflection. So when you observe this one, it able to generate the maximum extent of angles. All the angles having the extent of reflection, maximum extent of reflection available for this one. That's the reason why it is having ornamental value, and it is expensive jewel. Along with that one, because of its hardness and toughness, it is also having much more industrial applications, because in order to cut any material of high abrasive, high toughness, in that case also these diamonds are used to cut them. So, and in either material whether related with the allotropes of a crystalline carbon atom will be a graphite. Graphite is also the part of crystalline allotropic form. Graphite with a 2-dimensional layered structure. Here this diamond is imparted with 3-dimensional x coordinate, y coordinate, and along the z coordinate all the bonds will be extended, so that it will be very hard material. In the similar convergent manner, here graphite is assigned with a 2-dimensional layered structure with the carbon-carbon with bonds within the layers. So this kind of arrangement will be there. Let us assume this is the layer A, layer B, layer C. All these layers are equispaced. So, and all the layers are associated with the forces called van der Waals forces of attractions, which are slightly weak forces of attraction, so that here sliding of one layer and upon another is possible, and all are linked with the covalent, extended covalent linkages. And moreover, carbons are arranged in such a way that all are in a hexagonal arrangement. All the circles, all the ring structures are associated with the hexagonal arrangement. These are relatively weak forces of interactions which are laying among the various layers, so that they are having the property of lubrication. In the layered structure, carbon atoms are in the trigonal planar environment. Trigonal planar, being sp2 hybridized carbon is associated with the graphite. Diamond, where sp3 hybridization is there, but in case of graphite you can observe the sp2 kind of hybridization. That's the reason why here trigonal planar geometry will be imparted for this one. All the carbons are laying on the same plane, which is denoted as a planar geometry. And here sp2 hybridization, you can clearly observe that 2s orbital with 1 electron and 2p orbitals with the 3 electrons. But here only s and 2p orbitals will participate in the mixing by the process called hybridization, and we will get a 3 hybridized orbitals and 1 unhybridized orbital. This is responsible for the conductivity of the graphite. sp2 hybridization will impart the trigonal planar geometry, so which we already completed in the earlier session. And this sp2 hybridized carbon atoms will lay in a trigonal planar geometry and able to form the carbon-carbon extended covalent bonds. And this will be regarded as a 2-dimensional structure only in 2 coordinates, x and y coordinates. These carbon atoms are laying, but not on the 3 possible ways. Each carbon atom with the unhybridized orbital, unhybridized p orbital will be there with accompanying 1 electron in that. Unhybridized p orbital interact to form the pi bond formation is possible, and over a whole layer. So such kind of pi bonds you can observe in these graphite molecules. The interactions are known as a London dispersion forces. So one layer to another layer, they are accompanied with a certain kind of forces called a London dispersion forces between the layers, and Distance is averagely considered as a 3.35 angstroms, weakened by the presence of water molecules. So if it is in contact, this graphite is in contact with moisture, these van der Waals forces of attractions can be minimized so that layered structure will experience the deformation. So in the presence of water, in the presence of moisture, being it is participating in the weakening of such a bond among all the layers which were present among the layers. For this reason, graphite is used as a lubricant, as a lead in the pencil. So it is because of its layered structure, a smoothness is important because the slipping of one layer upon another is possible. Hence, it is used to avoid the friction conditions. So among the rubbing surfaces, so lubrication property is imparted just like oily substances. When we are taking like greasy, waxy materials along with them, these are also having such a lubrication. And pencil lead is also made up of this carbon, and that also another application for this graphite. So here you can clearly observe this is a lubricant we can use in order to avoid the friction conditions among the rubbing surfaces, and this is about the pencil lead which used to write the things. And here is the question regarding this allotropic forms of carbon called the graphite. How do you understand the marking of pencil on paper? So how do you understand the marking or writing of a pencil on a paper? How it is able to write? Let us see. When we write with a pencil, the interlayer interactions break down and leave graphite layer on the paper. So here already we know that all the layers are associated with the London dispersive forces, which also known as the van der Waals forces, which are operating. Whenever we are pressurizing on the paper, what happens? These forces will be minimized and that graphite will deposited on the paper. Pencil marks are easily removed by the eraser, and layers do not bind strongly to the paper. So whenever we are writing with the pencil, what happened? That that graphite is not interacting with the paper very firmly, very strongly. That's the reason why by simple erasing with a rubber, it is possible to remove those stains, remove those marks whichever we are writing with the lead pencil, right? That's the reason why here pencil marks are erasable. Graphite is a good conductor of electricity as well because of the delocalized pi electron system in it. Being it is participating in sp2 hybridization, one of the odd electron, one of the unhybridized electron is available, which is responsible for the conductive property of this graphite. So being it is non-metal, exceptionally exhibiting this conduction property because of the availability of free electron in its valency shell. So by this, we completed the session with the two crystalline forms of carbon. One is called diamond, second is called the graphite, and what is the arrangement of all these and how they are useful, and what kind of a comparison we can frame between the diamond and graphite. All these topics were discussed in this session. Hope this will helpful for your preparation. Thank you very much for your consistent listening. Thank you, one and all.